Hey, what's going on, everyone? Today I'll be showing you how to use VBA in Microsoft Access to do cascading combo boxes in ascending order. Let me go over the tables real quick. Everything's really based off the users table. The users can have a access level, and they can belong to a different department with different access levels. And then they can have a status of active or inactive in those departments. The users underscore departments table, it just contains all the foreign keys from these tables to create those records. All right. So let's go to the main form. So first we want to populate the access levels. So we're going to go under data and then row source. And then we want to pull in the access levels table. And we want the ID and the access type. And since we only want the records that are found within the users underscore department table, we're going to also join this table together. And we don't want duplicates, so we're going to go over here. Let me close this out. And we want unique values, and that'll make a select distinct query. If we go to right click and do SQL view, you can see it right here. I'm gonna right click right here and go back to design view. And then I'm gonna just run this. And that's what we want. If we want it in alphabetical order, we can do that as well. So let's go back to design view, and we're gonna do this in ascending order. Then I'm gonna right click and then save and close that out. All right, now we're gonna populate the query for the user. So I want the user table. We want to make sure the user is also in this table as well, the users underscore departments table. And we're going to link up the user ID. We're going to add a user ID and username. And then we also need to know what the access level is as well, but we're not going to show that. I might just put 0 right here as a placeholder. So we won't see anything right now. I'm going to go back to design view. And we want this to not have duplicates as well. So we're going to do unique values. You're going to save that. And then for the department, let's go ahead and build out that query. Pull in the departments table. And then the user underscore departments table. We're going to link up the department ID. And we want to display the department ID in department. But we also need to know the access level and the user ID. So we're going to have these as placeholders. And then the primary keys have 0. That's why I'm putting 0 right here, so it wouldn't fetch any data. Let me go ahead and save that. Next, we want to go into we want to format these combo boxes. Okay, let me show you in the form view. If you don't, you're just going to see the primary keys in here. So let's update that. So we have 2 columns. We don't want to see the primary key, so we're going to set that to 0. And then we're going to do a semicolon and 1. And that'll show the other column. So let's save that. Go to form view. All right, looking good. And we'll do that for the other ones as well. Go back to design view. 2 columns. Don't show the primary key. Just show the other field. All right. So let's go into the onChange event on the assets level. So based on what we change it to, that's how we're going to update this user's combo box over here. I always add option explicit at the top of my modules. That way you have to declare your variables within the module. And let's see. So onChange, let me go back over here. I'm gonna hit Alt F11 to go back to the main screen. And I'm gonna grab the query out of here. You can either just hit, you can actually just hit up right here and then select everything and then do Control-C and you can copy it. I'm gonna hit Alt F11 again to go back to the code editor. And that's gonna be my SQL string. So we're going to declare the variable. And we're going to feed it that query. The only difference is we're going to have to get that access level ID. So we're actually going to create a function to get that access level ID and the user ID and department ID. That way we can populate the subform at the end. So let's go ahead and do that. Do it as a long. It's going to return a long. So from our main form, we're going to select that and then hit period. And then we're going to select the combo box, CBO access. And we want the value. And we're going to return this, and we want to wrap it in an NZ function. That way, if it is null, it just returns 0. So we do NZ, comma, and then if it doesn't have a value, if it is null, it's going to be this value right here for the second parameter. What am I missing on here? I'm so used to being in other programming languages. I haven't been in here for a while. So I actually used the function name to return in VBA. It's been a good minute for me. All right. So with this function right here, we can call that right here. And that's what we're gonna, let's see, and this is what we're gonna use to update the row source for the user. So we're gonna do, we can do me combo user row source. Go. And then just in case like these fields are populated ahead of time, we do want to make sure that the department row source is empty. So I'm gonna do Alt F11. We need a combo department that row source equals nothing. All right, let's test that out and see how that works. I'm gonna save it, Alt F11. Admin, all right, It only pulls up code can. Let's switch it over. Wisdom. Okay, and what we also would need to do is actually empty this out too before we requery it. So let me change that as well. Actually, I can just put it over here. There we go. All right, let's try that. Then if I change it again. Actually, let me do it this way then. Let's see if that'll work for me. All right, we're in business. It's disappearing now. All right, go back into design view. F11 to go back to the VBA editor. All right. And let's go ahead and make some functions to get the department ID and also the user ID. Oh yeah, why that's still on my mind. The reason why I changed it from text to value, because if you're using text, then you have to actually have focus on that control, and that's the reason why I had to change that up. And let's see, get department ID. What I'm doing for the code completion is holding control and hitting spacebar. Then we can also add some comments in here. Right. Also need to make sure that the value is 0 on there as well for the department. Change places right here. All right, let's save that. I'm gonna go back to the main form. And now we're gonna populate the row source for the department based off the user. So on change. We can just copy this code because we do have to clear out the row source if there's a row source for the department, and then set the value to 0. Based on the user, user level, primary key, and the user. Primary key. All right. We're just gonna grab that query that we generated earlier. Now we're going to get the access level ID primary key from the combo box on the form. And then we also need to do the same for the user ID. Do we make a get user ID function? Let's see. Oh, I see what I'm doing. All right, we should be good there. And let's save and test this. So something's off, so let's see what's going on. I forgot to update my row source for the department, so let's do that. There we go. And this user belongs to 2 different departments. Let me change this again. All right, that's working. So for the final part, once we update the department, we want to update the subform from there. So we're going to go back to design view, hit Alt F11. Actually, let me go back. You can also click on this icon to go back to the main form. And then I want to look at the query that I generated in the subform. So I'm going to click on here one time, and then I'm going to click on it another time to get to the main form of the subform. And I'm going to show you what this form looks, what this query looks like. So let me open this up. So we just have all these other tables connected to the users table. But I'm not actually showing the IDs from these tables, just the actual username, the status, access type, and department. And these are just placeholders, so I'm gonna update these with the VBA code to actually populate these queries. So let me copy this code. It's all right if we save it. I'm gonna hit Alt F11. Actually, I can just go right here under event, then on change. So this is the subform name. So I'm gonna select that. And then we're gonna update the record source of that form. And I guess I can create a variable for this as well. And I'm just cutting and pasting that query. And I'm using an ampersand underscore so I can have it on multiple lines. Right. Then we're just going to update the access level ID, the user ID, and the department ID. All right, let's test this. I'm gonna save and hit Alt F11. And there we go. Now, another thing that we have to do is clear out this subform if we do change like the access level or the user. So let's do that. Go back to the design view. And since we're using it in multiple positions, we're going to go ahead and create a function for this. It's going to be a private function. And I'm called reset subform. Alright, and I'm gonna go back and double click right here again to go get that query. And this will be the default state. I just do Control C to copy. And hit Alt F11 to go back to design view. Type out the form name. And we actually don't have to have all these in here, all these where clauses. So we're just gonna do, if they don't have a access level ID, they can't have anything else anyway. So let's do it like this. Trying to remember the name. Let's see. Access level, design view. Or better yet, let me just go back over here. We could just do it right here. Copy that. I'll put that in the variable. Right, and from there, on the onChange event, we're going to go ahead and add that function in there. And just to note that as a function, I'm going to call. Just copy that. All right, we should be good to go. Let's test this out. All right, we're in business. I'll add this on my Google Drive, so if anybody wants the source code to this, I have the link in the description. Until next time.